다 시버리 기울이 샤네 마샤네 간다 멍처럼 직셔야 돼. 디어야 디 딘징이 머리 버서 디 차이미 하래. 디 멍배 차래. 고. 근데 이미 인도산에 이게 타고도 현재 집에 고방 탑이야기 개진 집어스 전에 그 집집 지려서 쓰도 집어스 전에 제가 그 집집이 생년이 싫어 세고를 막도 특이한 게 집집 세통도 자 근데 인도산에 타고도 현재 집에 고방 강토야 있네 또 싫어부터 된다고 이미 인도산에 싫어 또 쳐 다시 이제 파르도 심바스야기 파르를 쓴 자대야 될래야 지주 레두스니 그래서 늘 침바 레두스이나 산예서 디 침바스라이나 로마르샤 그냥 로빈 초지라고 계속 듣는 날이야 가사테 싫어 파르 신이네 사실이 쟤는 산예사 코라샤 레두스니 산예사 장장샤 쟤네도 숨기야래 이내다 디바 짜단지 놀라살이야다 놀라살 퍼진 이거 원도 담배이나 아니 디니 퍼진 그 시리 퍼진 소요 원셔 있어 팔배 원도 셔베이나 놀라살이였어 다 팔람 디디 파베냠샤이디 다 정신을 보내냠샤이지 디디 저기 밥도 좀 하신 시리하래 다 되나 딘데게 파르도 침바 남진이 줄이야 남진이 살이야 뭐야지 영화라 싫을때 유동번이 가서 그게 니나 누르지 또가서 뭐 마세 탁 캐버지 남진 셴륜도 남진 되게 자주 쓰지 아니 단답 자주 쓰지 다 디시야 자 드리 메뉴산에 어다 들로 파르치면서는 리뷰 이시초들자 어다 디 파르치면서야디 전수 파괴 아니 이시들이야 쉐이거리 다 제작팀이 때문에 제시 칙 임비 차네 아니 슝들이 실 파르치면서입니다 달려야다 견디도서 먹으시고요 남자한테 용세 주둔 사람들 송도와 저는 다시 개베를 찍냐 즉 뒤에를 찍 저는 내게다 시진수 먹으셔야 아주 배게하다 건유나리야 부디 망타지 그래서 부디 하는 제가 하는 부디 니슈면 시진 도래도 와 너끼리 먹지 분 니치 지게던 거 개던 거 아니 셔야지 라자 남는 것이면 더 세하고 되게 더 재밌고 그래 이거 어디서 오는 거 되는데 뒤부지 샤지하래 그 뒤주디 시진이 찍어서 돼 사 뒤단단데 시진이 찍어서 돼 말이야
So let's start with the reading of the text itself. At the beginning, the title of the text reads Essence of the Perfection of Wisdom, or Heart Sutra of the Perfection of Wisdom. So this indicates that this particular text belongs to the class of sutras known as the Perfection of Wisdom. So what does perfection of wisdom refer to? And generally speaking, in the Mahayana tradition, we speak of 6 perfections: generosity, perfection of generosity, morality, forbearance, and so on. And then sometimes we also list 10 perfections, which includes the perfection of skillful means as well. But whether we use the 6-fold enumeration or 10-fold enumeration, among all these perfections, perfection of wisdom is recognized to be the most important one. In fact, it is said that the other practices such as generosity, morality, forbearance, and so on, in fact, they derive their name, perfection, because of their relationship with wisdom. So these other practices become perfection only when they are complemented and reinforced by the practice of perfection of wisdom. So it is perfection of wisdom that even gives confers the title of perfection to other practices such as generosity. So then the question is, why is wisdom considered to be the most important among these perfections, particularly the 6 perfections? The reason for that is because the ultimate aim of a Buddhist practitioner is the attainment of Buddhahood or liberation, nirvana. And the principal obstacle for achieving that, for realizing that, are the 2 obscurations, the obscurations in the form of afflictions and obscurations to subtle knowledge, which are the propensities and dispositions created by the afflictions. So, and then these subtle obscurations to knowledge are rooted in and arise from afflictions. And afflictions are, as explained before, ultimately rooted in the grasping at the true existence of things, inherent existence of things. So, and it is by cultivating the wisdom of emptiness, wisdom that realizes the ultimate nature of reality, that one is able to eliminate these obstacles. So therefore, for the attainment of our spiritual aim, which is the attainment of Buddhahood and liberation, nirvana, the cultivation of wisdom is the most principal objective. Therefore, the practice of wisdom becomes the most primary among all these 6 perfections. And then the question is, then what exactly is that perfection of wisdom? And here, for example, the Indian master Dignaga, in his summary of 8,000 lines in Perfection of Wisdom, he states that the true perfection of wisdom is the Buddha's non-dual wisdom. And so here he identifies Buddha's non-dual wisdom to be the true perfection of wisdom. And then also he identifies the realization of non-dual realization of emptiness at the level of the bodhisattva stage also to be a secondary kind of perfection of wisdom. So here when we use the term perfection, in the Sanskrit it's paramitta, and in Tibetan it's literally means to go beyond. So, and this expression, to go beyond, can be understood both in instrumental term, which is by which means you go beyond, or in a locative sense, where do you go beyond to? So if you read it in the locative sense, then of course perfection of wisdom refers to the Buddha's omniscient mind. But you can also read the expression in the instrumental sense, where you then refer it to the path by means of which you go beyond to that state. So from this point of view, the expression perfection of wisdom, perfection can be applied both to the Buddha's resultant state of Buddhahood, but also on the path, which is the process that leads to that stage. So therefore, and then the scriptures, such as the Heart Sutra, and these are also referred to as perfection of wisdoms, because these are scriptures that present the path that leads to that Buddhahood, and these are also the scriptures that present that resultant state, which is the true perfection of wisdom. And when we talk of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, in the Tibetan tradition, there is a listing, in fact, a system of listing 17 mother and son scriptures that belong to this collection. In any case, they are from the Kangyur canonical text, the Tibetan canonical text. There are almost around 20 large volumes that are translations of Perfection of Wisdoms of various length. And for example, we have the 100,000 lines Perfection of Wisdom, we have 25,000 lines of Perfection of Wisdom, we have 8,000 lines on Perfection of Wisdom, and 18,000 lines on Perfection of Wisdom, and so on. So there are, and including the Vajra and Diamond Cutter Sutra is also part of this, and Heart Sutra is one of the shorter versions of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. And in fact, there is even a shorter text known as the single letter Perfection of Wisdom. And here, that scripture is simply the letter A. Because A in Sanskrit is the negation, the negative particle.
나온다 못 들어래 사실.
So